All right, welcome back to another episode of the Karter Cast. I'm your host, Karter Baughan. With me, as always, Connor. It's the NBA podcast today. NBA All-Star break, scale 1 to 10, real quick. What would you grade it?
Oh, man. If we're talking about in comparison to the other ones, there's been some bad ones, but this one might take the cake. 2 out of 10.
I didn't watch it. I'll be honest. I didn't turn it on once. I'm not going to
There's
lie
your
to the people. I saw the clips on Twitter. I saw Jaylen Brown's dunks, how bad they were. I saw all the memes about it. I didn't watch 1 second of All-Star Weekend. I don't think I missed a thing. I don't think I missed a single thing.
You didn't. I mean, if we're talking about notable stuff that happened, Mac McClung won the dunk contest. The most exciting thing of the entire weekend is the three-point contest now. That, and then Steph Curry versus Sabrina was actually like really watchable and fun to watch.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I was going to bet Sabrina, and I was like, nah, Carter, be smart. Lose money.
Well, I was wondering, I was like,
instead.
I was like, is there any value on Steph like minus 300? It's like, no, I don't think there is. And then he came out and just torched anyways.
Yeah, no shot. But yeah, I didn't watch any of it. I don't have anything on All-Star Weekend, I'll be honest.
I had a couple theories I wanted to workshop. I want to bounce them off you.
Go for it.
First things first, dunk contest. This one's a quick one. People are talking about, can we fix it? Lack of star power. No stars want to do it. Stephen A. came on today and said that LeBron James ruined the dunk contest. All this stuff because nobody big wants to do it. That's not the problem. I don't think that's the problem. Personally, I had this thought a couple years ago and even more so this weekend. I think as humans, we've seen every dunk that's physically possible that somebody can do. What else can people do that we haven't seen? I mean, Blake Griffin jumped over a car. It's all about the props now. It's like, oh, let me get the iPhone out and take a selfie. Let me put a birthday cupcake on, blow out the candle on the rim. But physically, the actual dunks, I think we've seen everything that a human being is physically capable of unless we lower the rims. What do you think?
Nah, I think people can do stuff. Yeah, people can do stuff.
But we're talking like mind-bending dunks where it's like, oh my God, he shouldn't be able to do that. We've seen every single one of them. We've seen every single one.
But we felt that way when Levine and Aaron Gordon during their dunk contest, and then we see what Mac McClung can do. Some other people are going to pop up and do this. It's just a matter of like, what's the incentive on doing it now? If you're an established player, why would you do it?
Yeah, it's more so younger players wanting to make a name for themselves, or in Mac McClung's case, a G League player who doesn't get a lot of NBA minutes at all. This
nice
is his
paycheck,
claim
good
to fame.
exposure.
Exactly, this is his claim to fame. I don't know. I just feel like people are too concerned with who's doing it, and in my eyes, it's more of like, what else is there left to do? Like somebody's got to come up with a new idea, whether they lower the rims or do something different. I don't know. That was my first theory.
Yeah, a lot of people talked about lowering the rims in the WNBA.
Makes it more watchable. I'll just say that. Maybe not. Yeah, I will say now with like Caitlin Clark, and the talent level is clearly rising, but it's not a bad theory.
Imagine like the NBA. How stupid would the NBA dunk contest be if they had it on 8-foot rims?
Well, that's the thing. Like it would be so much more exciting. Where it's like, oh my God, that guy just took off from half court.
Dudes would be doing parkour off the top of the backboard.
There would be more of a chance to get hurt if they lowered the rims because guys would be trying some insane stuff.
All right. Anything else on the All-Star game?
Yeah, the actual game itself. This is my theory I wanted. People are talking about, and this is true, how people don't care, the players don't care. It's a three-point shootout. You walk the ball up the court, you shoot from half court, and the fans get more excited for these three-pointers than guys taking dunks and layups, which is true. That's happening. I don't necessarily know if there's a way to fix that because people don't like what Anthony Edwards said about it's the middle of the season, it's a break, we don't want to come out here and compete. That's the truth. That's just is what it is. So let me bounce this theory off of you, and this is not one I've heard, and it's probably pretty dumb. Should they just do the All-Star game after the season? Should it just be done in late June, July?
Kind of like the Pro Bowl?
Right, exactly. To where it's like, okay, yes, the finals are over now, and maybe the guys that made a deep playoff run, they don't want to compete, but they need to view it as more of a giving back to the fans moment, to where it's like, okay, you know, you watched this during the whole regular season, and the numbers are up this much in TV ratings, like, hey, let's get back to the fans. Kind of like the lockout Pro-Am games they did back during 2011 in the NBA lockout, to where these guys were barnstorming gyms and doing these Pro-Am games. Treat it more of like a way to give back to the fans in a time where like most guys have been off for like a month or two during the playoffs, and they'll come out there and actually compete. I'm not saying go hard and treat it like the finals, but I think it would be better competitive levels.
I just don't think that next level is capable in the dudes in the NBA today. Like, if I mean, think about like how bad the NBA is for 50% of the league in early April at the end of the regular season. Those dudes are done with basketball. They are already on the first flight out to Cancun when that season ends, if you're a Hornet or a Wizard.
Right. I mean, that's fair, but I'm saying do it like late June to where most of these guys have already been off for a month and a half. And the only guys that really have been playing this whole time were people that are in the finals or the conference finals.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it, but like it's a one that's like, yeah, I don't know. I just don't think these guys will ever be competitive in this game.
The mindset would just have to shift because mid-season, nobody wants to get hurt and nobody wants to try too hard because it's a break and you have to go right back at the grind. But in this way, you're not as worried about injury or fatigue or anything like that. And I think the mindset would just have to shift to be like, this is a give back to the fans. Let's go out there and put on a show and actually compete a little bit more than we would if it's mid-season. I don't know.
I have two theories on how to fix it. One, you give the player $10 million for the first player to score 40 points in the All-Star game. Because then everybody would be going for it.
It's going to be like a game of knockout or a game of 20, or not knockout. It's going to be like a game of 21 where it's going to be 9-on-1. Guys just taking the ball from everybody.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. You just play like yak basketball.
Or King of the Court.
Yeah, but first player to get 40 points, $10 million. Everybody would be going for it.
That is true. But would anybody ever get there? I mean, there would be guys on the same team guarding them.
That's even better if no one gets there. No one gets the money if you don't get 40.
That's crazy. It's almost crazy enough to where I like it.
All right, and then my last one. This is an all-time dumb idea, and it's very dumb. What if they just had the NBA players play flag football and the NFL players play a basketball game?
Now, I think there would be more risk of injury with that. But I think that would be so much more entertaining. That would be so much more entertaining.
Dude, imagine seeing Jamar Chase go up for an alley-oop from Joe Burrow. And then, like, I would be very curious to watch, I don't know, like, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown play flag football. I don't know.
Well, we saw it in the celebrity game. I mean, Stroud, Micah Parsons, and Puka Nacua especially, they were hooping.
Yeah.
I mean, so the football players got it. Seeing basketball guys play flag football would be great. I mean, LeBron, is past his prime, but he always said he could be an NFL tight end. And
those dudes would be pumped for that. Those dudes would be pumped for it.
That would get competitive. It's something new, and guys will be guys. At the end of the day, you're going to be competitive. You go out there in the yard and play flag football. It's the same thing. They will try for that. Yeah, I don't hate that. But nobody would ever sign off on that midseason.
No,
that can never be
liability and injuries. Yeah, I know. It's stupid. And the All-Star game's done. It's dead. It's blockbuster. It's gone.
Do you think, last thing, do you think it would be beneficial if they just canceled the whole weekend and then just had less back-to-backs during the season?
Yes.
Like they use that time to have like less back-to-backs.
Yes, I think there also needs to be a week break, like a 2-week break or something like that. But
okay.
If they canceled the game altogether, like as a fan, I wouldn't care. But there's just too much money at stake. They make all this money off the slam dunk game and the Saturday night and Sunday night stuff. Yeah, there's too much money at stake for them to cancel it, obviously. But before we get into our next segment, we are brought to you by SeatGeek. Download the SeatGeek app today or go to SeatGeek.com. Use code KarterCast, KarterCast, for $20 off your first purchase. $50 purchase minimum required. Download the SeatGeek app today or go to SeatGeek.com. Use code KarterCast for $20 off your ticket. I'm using it Thursday, Connor. The Jazz Hornets, they're coming to town. We'll talk about that at the very end. I have a clip for that. And then also, many people, someone today used it for Warriors tickets. There you go.
It's a good
maybe it may have been a family member, but they used it for Warriors tickets next month against the Pacers.
They still use that KarterCast code, didn't they, Carter?
And they got $20 off their first purchase, $50 minimum purchase required. Go to SeatGeek.com or download the SeatGeek app today. This is the one thing I want to talk about. I'm very excited about this. I saw this, and I held my Twitter fingers. I stopped myself. I wanted to get on there, and I only made one tweet. I only made one tweet making a Coach K reference, but LeBron James came out during All-Star Media Weekend and said that he will not be doing a retirement tour, or he was considering a farewell tour. Let's just get this out of the way. That's the biggest load of crap we've ever heard, right? I mean, he is primed to be a farewell tour guy.
Yeah, so I believe the exact quote was he didn't know if he wants to Tim Duncan it, a.k.a. retire without a tour. That's not happening. For somebody that goes on Instagram and social media weekly and praises themselves for, which to be fair, it's deserved. He's yes, it is. He broke the all-time scoring record. You're allowed to like pat yourself on the back.
But when you're in your 20th year and you're sitting there saying that, oh yeah, that pass was on purpose to Anthony Davis, and you're dead serious about it when it clearly was, it's stuff like that. You're like, come on, man.
Yeah, my take to you as soon as you sent me this was like, he's earned the right to be cocky and to get praised for his accomplishments, but he can't have his cake and eat it too. He can't play both sides and be like, well, I'm uncomfortable with praise, and here's a big slice of humble pie, and I'm the most humble superstar ever. You can't do that, because for somebody that goes on social media constantly, praises themselves, accepts the praise, or will call out people that critique him, whatever, he is very much in that lifestyle. He is very much accustomed to being praised and not being uncomfortable with it. So for him to come out and say that he doesn't know if he wants to do a retirement tour, I think that's just add more fuel to the fire. Because if there were odds on that, it'd be like minus 800 he's going to have a retirement tour. Like, come on.
Yep. Yeah, and he'll do the fake retirement too. He's going to have a retirement, and then he'll come back a year later and go into the team he wants. He's just so inauthentic. Nothing about LeBron is genuine.
I think that's fair. I wanted to compare it to the Rob Gronkowski situations on steroids. So where it's like Gronk retires, and then a few months into the season, Tom Brady comes calling, hey, we need you. We're about to make a playoff run. He comes right back. So think about this. LeBron, big retirement tour, the whole shebang, takes a few months off. All of a sudden, January comes around. There's a list of contenders or guys he wants to play with that are top 4 seed in the conference. All of a sudden, he's back. He's making a playoff run. He's rested up, and he's chasing one more ring. I could see that happening once, maybe twice, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan did it.
Exactly, yeah. I literally think it's the Gronk situation on steroids, to where it's like, oh, we'll call you when there's a fit, or, hey, I want to come back and play one last year with Steph and Draymond, or Katie. I never got to play with those guys, so let's just run it one time when I'm 42 years old.
Yeah, it's he's getting a little too calculated right now. He's throwing a lot of feelers out there, trying to be like, okay, what's my next move? Who's going to draft my son? There's a lot of weird things I don't like going on with LeBron right now, where he's trying to play the media.
Well, there's been so many signs of like his career coming to an end, which it is, just age-wise, it is. But the whole minutes restriction thing that lasted, one game to start the season, and then there was the talks about how many years you got left, and he's like, well, I don't know how many more, but it's coming to an end. And now this, to where he's like, well, maybe I'll just retire one day at the end of the season, and nobody will know it's coming. You're right. It's all these feelers coming out to where it's like, oh my God, we have to be hanging on every word. We don't know when the last game he'll play is. We don't know when the last season is. It's all about LeBron. And that is the bottom line. That is what he wants it to be about. He's controlling the narrative. He's controlling the media. He wants everybody's attention on him. All of a sudden, we're hanging on a thread saying, when's his last season going to be? We might not even know when it's over.
Yep. I don't know. I'm kind of sick of I'm just sick of seeing those quotes and just seeing.
You didn't like it. You didn't like that quote, Karter.
I didn't like it. And everyone's like, oh, easy for you to say, you're wearing a Duke shirt. Coach K did that. I didn't like when Coach K did it either. I've not changed my thought about that. It's stupid. Like Jay Wright, he did it in a good way, but coaching is different than playing, because Coach K gave Shire Ross or whatever. That's for the college basketball podcast. Tune in Thursday. I want to talk about this, though. I want to get your thoughts. If you didn't see it, Woj tweeted out that the Warriors had tried to trade for LeBron and the Lakers. One thing, back to the annoying LeBron quotes. He was on TNT, and then he was like, "Oh," they were like, "How much involvement did you have in this?" Like, and he was like, "I actually found out when you guys did." I was like, "Shut up! Like, this is the crap. Like, stop saying this. We can read right through it."
Yeah, that part was not true at all. No way.
No shot. But what do you think about the Golden State rumors?
Yeah, so when I first heard about it, I was like, come on, like how much truth is there really to this? And then it seems like there's a little bit more like substantial evidence to come out that like maybe this actually did happen, whether or not it was just Draymond giving him a phone call or whatever, tuning in with Rich Paul and Clutch, whatever. Now there's talks of like this happening over the summer, and I mean, I think this will be brutal. I mean, KD gets a lot of hate for joining the Warriors. I think this would be even worse than that. Even at this stage of LeBron's career, he's 39 going on 40 next year. I think even LeBron would be crucified by his own fans for this. Because that is like the team. Like the Warriors are the team that have been the thorn in his side for a decade.
I think you would at first, but I think people would just say, it's LeBron. I love LeBron.
Yeah, the LeBron fans would give in pretty easily, actually, now that I'm actually thinking that.
But NBA fans wouldn't. I mean, it would be very hypocritical.
You know, we talk about KD and his thoughts on legacy and everything, and I will defend KD's decision. He did what was best for winning. I could give a shit about the legacy stuff. LeBron is hyper tuned into this stuff about, like, legacy. I want to be better than Kobe, win as many rings as Jordan. He is so tuned into that. I don't think he would do it just because that bad media narrative where it's like, oh, LeBron had all these great battles with the Warriors, and all of a sudden he ends up with Steph and Draymond. I think that would literally be a sole reason why he wouldn't do it.
What if like Bronny transfers to Stanford and Cal, and then all of a sudden, you know, LeBron goes up to the Bay Area. They're Bay Area boys now.
Bronny gets drafted to a great organization that it can develop him. Take a little second-round flyer on him this year. Great G League system.
He's not going to Golden State.
Let me ask you this. If he did go to Golden State, how many wins is LeBron plus Steph Curry Warriors team winning next season? If, let's say he gets traded in the offseason.
And
how many
healthy?
wins are they getting? And they're healthy. How many wins are they getting?
50?
You think 50? I say 45. I don't even think it's 50.
I don't know how much I like that basketball fit with LeBron and Golden State.
They would figure it out, though. Like, him and Draymond on the court together, like, it's a little, like, they do a lot of the same things with the ball in their hands, but there's some of the smartest players we've ever seen, so they would figure it out. We can assume they're healthy, but, you know, LeBron, if we can get 65, 70 games out of LeBron and Curry each, I still think it's a 45, 47 win team. I think 50 is the absolute ceiling.
They're healthy. I think they could win 50. I think they would win 50.
It's just hard to trust. Like, eventually LeBron's got to decline. He'll be going on 40 years old next year.
Yeah, but he would have so much help. And imagine Steph running off the ball with LeBron. We talked about that with Chris Paul this year. Didn't pan out that way whatsoever. But Steph going off ball with LeBron and Klay, I think Klay would have a huge resurgence, even though I think he still should be coming off the bench. And
yeah.
I mean, it would work out.
What's the supporting cast look like? Because you've got to trade something to get LeBron, unless you guess he just signs there for a discount. But I guess like Kuminga would have to be gone. Wiggins has to go. Klay probably
it's just Wiggins. I think it's just Wiggins goes.
But the thing is, Carter, you can't trade for LeBron or acquire LeBron like that without giving up somebody valuable. Wiggins won't cut it. It has to be Kuminga, right? Like, the Warriors have to give up that and like some draft capital if it's a trade.
Yeah, I don't know what the exact trade would look like, to be honest. I don't know.
So, okay, so if you're saying LeBron and Steph both play 65 games, Draymond's there, maybe Klay's there, you think 50 games is the marker?
Yeah.
Okay. I would go upper 40s. I would go upper 40s. Maybe they stop caring at certain points during the season. But that would be a team I wouldn't want to face in the playoffs if everyone's healthy. I will say that. It'd be hard to bet against LeBron or Steph. Even with the talent surges in the league and, you know, every team has an all-star player now, would not want to face that team in the first round.
Would they win the title?
No. I don't think they would.
So either.
I think they make one of those like Western Conference Finals runs and then they just run into a buzzsaw. Whoever the number one seed is that year, whether it's the Thunder, whether it's Denver next year, whatever it is, I feel like they just run into that buzzsaw.
Yeah. Speaking of the Warriors, though, Klay got benched. We had that. I think it was it last year we put out, or maybe it was 2 years ago. We put out the Klay washed clip.
Oh yeah, the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might have been like a year and a half ago. That was a while ago.
And then we got crucified for the one recently.
Yeah, that one was stupid. That one clearly, clearly he needs to be coming off the bench, and they're so much better for it. Pajinski, I think I said that's his name, right? Pajinski, like I can say that correctly. Okay, that's not an Oscar Shibwe.
Sounds right.
Yeah, we call them AirPods.
Yeah, AirPods, B-Pods, Brando Pods.
No, AirPods, because he looks like he plays with AirPods in. He's like that kid at the. He's the kid at the rec center. He looks like he's kind of a TikTok kid that plays with AirPods in.
And gray sweatpants.
Yep,
and
100%.
Probably shoots with slides on for like 30 minutes while the game's going on the other end.
Yep, 100%. Yep. And never tries 100%. Like maybe gets 40%.
Turns it over and misses a shot, and he's doing the lollygag back on defense where it's like, oh man, I'm sore today. I just was in the gym yesterday hitting my biceps.
Yeah, good old AirPods. I love him though. I mean,
what a player!
That's changed the Warriors season.
100%. Hitting on that pick was absolutely huge. They had to have one more guy off the bench, especially with Gary Payton going down. So Podziemski getting those minutes early on, if they do make a run in the play-in or playoffs, he will be a big reason why. But about the Klay thing, it's the right move. It's the right move.
Yep.
And I think a month ago, Klay was talking about, I won't be on the bench. Like, I'm Klay Thompson, blah, blah. Something's happened. Maybe it was that losing streak they went on, or he took a look at the standings and was like, all right, I got to accept this. If this team's going anywhere, like I care about winning, I have to accept this. And sure enough, well, the Warriors have already been doing well. They've won 6 of their last 7, and now with him on the bench, I think that's the right move. They almost blew it against the Jazz before All-Star break, but Thompson off the bench, he had 35. He was the game's leading scorer. He looked really good. Now, I don't think we're going to be seeing 30 balls off the bench consistently for Klay, but if he can do it once every 4 or 5 games, it's a win.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head there. I don't think there's anything really to add to that. You know, he comes in, he just doesn't, it's him just not having to do too much. We see that guys when they're getting to the end of their careers and stuff where they kind of are just doing a little, they're being asked to do more than they're capable of. That's why Gordon Hayward probably works out on the Thunder or elsewhere. Because in Charlotte, he was asked to do a little too much. Terry Rozier asked to do a little too much in Charlotte, and now they're just in so much better situations. Yeah,
and if you think about Klay off the bench, because whenever Klay's in the starting lineup, it's like, okay, if Klay takes 20 shots, then that's 5 shots Curry could have had, and 3 more shots Kuminga could have had, and maybe a couple shots or 10 minutes Podziemski could have had. Now with Klay off the bench, if he's playing 22 to 28 minutes a game, depending on how he's shooting, you're not worried about him taking 15 shots because who else is going to shoot him? Oh, Gary Payton in the corner, Kevon Looney on a pick and roll. Like, who's he taking shots away from? Nobody you're that worried about. Because in the starting lineup, it was like, if Klay jacks up a first side 3, probably could have gotten a better shot.
Yeah, and you also, a big thing with Klay is you kind of know early on how he's going to be in that game. Like, it's pretty, especially now at the end of his career, you know early on, like, hey, he's got it tonight or he doesn't. And before, they were just forcing it to him, be like, oh, he's a shooter. He's one of the greatest shooters of all time. He'll get into it. And he just couldn't now at this stage of his career. He just can't. And, him coming off the bench, I think that adds more to it. And they're better for it.
We see this in pro athletes a lot, to where the athlete is the last guy to realize they've kind of lost it, or the last guy to realize they need to come off the bench, or they need to be in a reserve role, less minutes. And so kudos to Klay. If he really has realized this mid-season, and he's prioritized the Warriors winning and making a run, and him looking in the mirror and saying, I'm better in this role, good for him, because all the credit in the world deserves to go to him, because he's probably the last guy to realize it. But if he can do that mid-season and then pivot, they can make a run. They can win a play-in game, maybe get out of the first round.
Speaking of the playoffs, I wanted to ask this. Between the Lakers, the Suns, and the Warriors, who goes furthest in the playoffs?
I think I have to go the Suns. Between those 3 teams, I'm going the Suns. You telling me Durant's healthy, Booker is a viable number 1 option on any team in the league, and if Bradley Beal can provide that 15 to 16 points a game, they've got a pretty good supporting cast. They've got Nurkic, they've got Grayson Allen, Eric Gordon. Like, these are guys that have been in playoff games. I like their supporting cast a little bit more. Golden State's supporting cast is a little bit young. I know Kuminga's won a ring, but he wasn't a big contributor on that team. Podziemski's a rookie. Looney's taking a step back. And then if you're looking at the Lakers, LeBron and AD are due for some sort of injury, and Taurean Prince or some of those other guys can shoot them out of a game. D'Angelo Russell, I don't trust. They didn't make any moves to the deadline. Give me the Suns. Short answer, long answer, short. Give me the Suns.
Yeah, I think the Suns is the right answer here, too. They're playing good basketball right now. I mean, even guys like Grayson Allen can get hot out of nowhere. And I think Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, like you mentioned it, one of those guys can take over a playoff game. It's just a matter of staying healthy for them. Which one of those teams, I guess, between Lakers or Warriors, gets knocked out first?
Gets knocked out first? I'm going to go the Warriors. We've seen too much of it this year. Yeah, we've seen too much of it. I know Klay's coming off the bench now, and they've won 6 of their last 7, and Curry is playing at an unreal level. Draymond's back and maybe level-headed. There's been too much of a sample size for me to fully trust this Warriors team. If you're giving me LeBron and AD in the playoffs, I mean, Reeves has been picking it up lately. I think the Warriors have a much higher chance of getting bounced early or even losing a play-in game. Because if Steph's not scoring 35, or if another team figures out how to shut him down or at least slow him down, where else are they going? Kuminga's been great, but he hasn't done it in a playoff game.
Yeah, but I also feel that same way about the Lakers, too.
So what's your answer?
I think the Lakers get knocked out before the Warriors this year.
Really?
I think Yeah, I think they do. I don't think LeBron likes this Lakers team. I don't think he's bought in. I think that's a big reason why we're seeing all these quotes. He's floating out there the Golden State stuff. Maybe Clutch leaked the Golden State stuff to Woj and all that, and who knows what calculated crap is going on in LeBron's head and what their camp is doing. But it doesn't seem like he's bought into this team, and we've seen that in years past where if he's not bought in, then they're not even going to have success in the playoffs. We saw that play in that one year where they beat the Warriors and lost to the Suns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my counter to that would be that is true right now in the moment. LeBron is, all these rumors, all these leaks, all these quotes. I think LeBron as a player, as a person, is smart enough to realize once they get in that play-in game where it's win or go home or that first-round series, it's like, okay, I've only got a few of these left and nothing's guaranteed. So I better bust my ass to get us to the next round. I think he will take that, take it to another level, even if he doesn't love the team he's on.
Yeah, because looking at the standings, if they ended up in the 7-8 spot and they made the playoffs, they would be playing the Thunder.
Oh man,
the Lakers might be favored in that series.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a first round matchup, I'd rather play OKC than
I think you may have
Denver
talked me out of this
Clippers.
because. Yeah, the Clippers would be tough. I would take the Clippers any day of the week against the Lakers.
I would too.
Yeah, or if you're the Warriors, you get the Timberwolves, you're like, I'm not that upset. Obviously, Timberwolves are good. They're playing great basketball this season. Best defensive team in the league probably. But if you're the Warriors, you're like, it's Minnesota still.
Exactly, and the Western Conference is so stacked. If you're one of these, these lower seeds, Lakers, Warriors, Pelicans, Mavs, and you're looking at the top of the conference, I'd much rather see Oklahoma City or Minnesota than a Nikola Jokic-led Denver team that just won a title, or a Clippers team that's been playing like the best team in the league for 3 months. I would not want to see them in the first round, no matter what happened during the regular season.
All right, we'll take a quick break and be right back. All right, I want to talk about the Bucks. Doc Rivers and the Bucks. We saw Doc Rivers' quote this week where he's like, I wish they didn't sign me up in the middle of a road trip. That kind of sucked, having to get on a plane and meet a new team and coach a team. He's like, it would have been really nice if they could have waited till after All-Star break. I could have had an extra 2 weeks of PTO, chilling in Cancun, having a great time, maybe call a couple ESPN games. And instead, he's in cold Milwaukee and Detroit, having to coach, play the Hornets. They got to play the Hornets. But they stink. They've been terrible since Doc has come back, and nothing's changed. They've almost been worse. What's your panic level on the Bucks right now, 1 through 10?
It's high. And I was willing to give Doc, if you're looking for a number, 8. I think 8. I think it's time to push the panic button because I was willing to give Doc Rivers a grace period to where it's like, okay, he did join in the middle of a road trip. You got to get accustomed to the team. You got to influence your ways. But coaching a team to the finals midseason is almost unheard of. Unless you have a LeBron on your team, when Ty Lue and David Blatt, that whole thing. This is different. I mean, this team has some serious fundamental problems that Doc Rivers is not going to fix. And I said this whenever they hired him. You look at their upcoming schedule, at Minnesota, at Philadelphia, granted without Embiid, and then the Hornets, the powerhouse Hornets twice.
Micic.
What are they, 2-2 in those games maybe? But right before the break, they got blown out against Miami at home and then lost on the road to a Memphis Grizzlies team that I guarantee you 90% of people that watch basketball couldn't name a single player on the roster. Unless you're an absolute sicko, you couldn't name a single person that played for the Grizzlies that night. And they lost. They blew it.
G.G. Jackson, David Roddy, there you go.
But if you're asking somebody a casual fan that hasn't really watched much this year, they'll have no clue.
No shot.
Yeah. But that was concerning. They were up that game, and then they just mailed it in. And you got Vince Williams and Jordan Goodwin, who they just signed, and G.G. Jackson cooking you. That's serious red flags. And then Doc Rivers says some of our guys are in Cabo. When your coach is saying that after a game, that's kind of brutal.
I love it. I think it's hilarious.
At least he's honest.
I'll go panic meter. Let's go 7. I want to have a grace window of things can turn around after the All-Star break in March. Just this 1 week off can be a huge difference in a team. We've seen it year after year. I just worry about them defensively. Teams are attacking Dame, and I don't think people are realizing how many holes on the defensive end that Drew Holiday was covering while he was there.
I agree. And the offense is clearly better with Dame, and Beasley's out there. But the defense, there's fundamental problems that cannot be fixed. There's not going to be a quick fix. And if you look at their schedule, I don't want to repeat myself, but after the first week, They go on that West Coast road trip where it's Clippers, Warriors, Lakers, Clippers again, Kings. That is a brutal West Coast trip. And if they don't have something figured out by then, if they go 1-4 in those games, panic meter might be at a 9.5, because they really have to figure something out on the defensive end before then.
Yeah, I think you got to give it the first 2 weeks of March, and then once it hits mid-March, you're like, oh, this is what it is. This is what it is. And
then you fire Doc Rivers and get Budenholzer back.
Yeah, well, yeah, let Doc coach the playoffs, get knocked out by the Knicks. I like the Knicks in the playoffs. I'm going to stick with – I think the Knicks are just going to be a bandwagon I jump on for the playoffs.
They just got too many injuries for me right now. Not enough consistency.
Yeah, when they get back, when they're healthy, they're ready for the playoffs.
Yes,
I like that group. They're feisty. I feel like they can hang with. They would be a miserable 7-game series for anybody.
Oh yeah, grind it out, offensive rebounds. I mean, you're getting tossed around in the paint. They're the perfect team to beat the Bucks. We said this last episode. Perfect team to beat the Bucks in the 7-game series.
Yeah. Speaking of Giannis and the Bucks and other NBA stars, it's a horrible transition, but let's talk about the top 3 potential faces of the league. You wanted to do this segment.
There's been a lot of buzz in the media lately where it's like they're asking KD or Steph, where it's like, who could you see as the face of the league once you and LeBron and all these guys retire? So the question boils down to, for us, what's our top 3? When LeBron, when Kevin Durant, when Steph Curry retires, who's going to be the face of the league? Who takes that throne? Who gets the torch passed to them? They ascend the face of the franchise and the face of the league. You got a top 3, or you want me to go first?
You go first.
All right. So my first one and clear-cut answer, I think, is Jason Tatum. He's had the most playoff experience. He's on a great team. The Boston Celtics will be good for a long time, young core, and he's marketable. Went to Duke. Deuce, his son, on a lot of media pages.
He's got to win a title.
Is that the criteria to be the face of the league? You got to win a title?
I think he might get phased out if he doesn't have that title here soon.
Well, I think I'm putting into account that. Like, I think the Celtics will win one in the next couple years.
Will they?
I think so. There's too much talent there. They're too good not to. And if they don't, then Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are, splitting up.
Yeah, maybe so. Who's 2 for you?
2. This is tough because I don't know if I necessarily have a clear-cut top 3, because here's the thing. Jokic, best player in the league, I don't think he cares enough. He doesn't care enough about, the media, and he'll give you a 2-word answer and get out of there. Or he doesn't give a crap about All-Star Weekend or the game or 3-point contest, dunk contest. Does not care. It's clearly he doesn't want to be there. That can't be the face of the league. Even though he's the best player, cannot be the face of the league. I wrote down Joel Embiid. I don't know if he plays enough. I don't know if he's at its peak of his career long enough to be the face of the league. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's also a lot tougher for big men.
It is. It's a lot tougher for big men. And then I wanted to bring this issue up before I get into my other ones. Luka, Giannis, Wembanyama, like all those guys would be in my top 3. Are foreign players going to be the face of the league? I mean, bottom line,
yes.
Are we shifting towards more European players being the face of the league? If you look at the top 4 guys in the league, in some order, it's Jokic, Embiid, Luka, and Giannis. Right now, those are the top 4 guys in the league. And then Victor Wembanyama is the up-and-coming rising star. He will be the best player in the league sooner rather than later. None of those guys are American. They're all not from America. Will the NBA, will Adam Silver kind of embrace that and be like, okay, these European guys are going to be the face of the league? Because before we did this segment, it's like, who was the last European guy to be the face of the league? Is it Dirk? It has to be Dirk, right?
Yeah.
And even then,
if you include
just for the title
Nash,
year.
but Nash isn't European, he's international.
Right, exactly. So I guess we're shifting more towards this. How much does that play into it, though? Like, will Adam Silver and the NBA recognize these guys as the face of the league? Does that play into it? Because, like, Wemby, Luka, they're very marketable, but it has to be like, do you care enough? Luka doesn't care about All-Star Weekend, none of that stuff. Wemby, I think, probably will, but he'll get load managed a lot, probably. So there's just so much that goes into it. I don't know if I can put any of those guys in my top 3.
I mean, you have to, though, because they're going to be the best players. I don't think the European thing will matter just because we haven't.
I don't think it should.
Yeah, just because we haven't seen it in the past doesn't mean that'll change, because it has become more of a global game. And I don't think people are going to care that there's not American stars as much. I think American stars will pop up. I don't know if Jason Tatum's going to be that guy, though. He seems like the odds-on favorite, but I don't trust him enough, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I just want to get on record. I don't think there's a problem with these European guys being the face of the league. I think that is the way basketball is going, to where it's like this AAU culture and this larger conversation in America. We're going to see more European guys coming over being the best players in the NBA. That's just how it will be, period. The brand of basketball they play over there, that's how it's going to be. So with that being said, Giannis is in my top 3. I think it's Tatum. Yeah. I think it's Giannis. And number 3, you can convince me a many different ways. Luka would be a good answer there. I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a pretty good bet to be in that top 3 conversation. He's marketable. But then again, he's from Canada, so still. But
I would go Luka 1. I think Luka is going to be the most marketable player. Let me go Luka 1. I'll go Giannis 2. And screw it. Cooper Flag 3. Cooper Flag.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Give me all the Cooper Flag stock.
That's a big call your shot right there.
I mean, he's the consensus number 1 overall pick. He's going to be, one of the, big time American players in the league. They're desperate for American players. Give me Cooper Flag.
Can I give you my top 3 in order?
Go ahead.
I got Giannis number 1 because I think a good point you said earlier was Giannis has won a title. He's been there. He's been the best player on a title team. Giannis 1, Luka 2. I think SGA has to be 3. I think SGA is the most safe bet to be there. And then Wembanyama is not far behind. I think if Wembanyama has another year like this and he plays 70 games, he's top 5 for sure.
That team's got to be better, though.
That is the only thing. It has to be a watchable team. That would be the only thing.
Yeah, because it's painful watching Spurs basketball.
Well, they have to make a deep playoff run, and then that's how you get national eyes on you. It's like, oh my gosh, look what he did in the Western Conference Finals, and all of the country saw it. All of the world saw it.
Yeah, screw it. Give me Cooper Flag, dude. He's going to be awesome.
All right. I like it. What about Anthony Edwards? Is he in this conversation? I think he's top 7,
he's top 5. He's top 10 for sure. Okay. I'd say 8 around there. I don't know.
I think, to be fair, Anthony Edwards probably has a little too much tendency to do something wrong in him. I would say he will probably get somebody pregnant, or
I also don't know how committed he is. I just don't know how committed he is to basketball, like long term. Like
that's fair.
Could you there is a world where I'm like, oh, Anthony Edwards might be playing in the NFL in 6 years. We just don't know.
He came out and said he's going to shoot left-handed all-Star weekend, and he's that young, and he's saying that. Yeah, I don't know.
He doesn't care.
I just think there's a little asterisk there. Tyrese Halliburton would be the last one. I think Tyrese Halliburton. I don't know.
I don't think he can reach that next level.
He's not giving you 30 a game, but he does make basketball exciting.
Yeah, no, I love Halliburton. I think he's awesome. I just don't think he can be that guy. I don't know why. Yeah. Maybe he can be. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
I think John Morant was in the top 3 before the whole incident.
Yeah.
I think that is who the NBA really
Zion was
pushing
there
for.
Before.
Well, Ja, they wanted him to be the poster boy, and then they were pushing for that, I think. His own shoes, own shoe deal, all that stuff. And then Zion, but Zion's fallen off a cliff. Maybe he's back now, but.
Yeah. But, all right, before we get into our last segment, once again, we are brought to you by SeatGeek. Download the SeatGeek app today. Use code CarterCast for $20 off your first purchase. $50 purchase minimum required. Use code CarterCast. You see it right here. If you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, right below us, or on Twitter, use code CarterCast, KARTERKAST, SeatGeek.com, or download the SeatGeek app today to get $20 off your first purchase for whatever sports concert or show you want to go to. That's why I want to bring this up. I'm using SeatGeek to go to the Hornets Jazz game this Thursday. Hornets Jazz on SeatGeek. The SeatGeek's the official sponsor of the Jazz, Hornets Jazz. The Hornets have won in Seattle before they have won in Salt Lake City.
It's been that long.
That changes Thursday. This is the year. Micic, Grant Williams, Seth Curry, Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, and the fellas, they get it done against the Jazz on Thursday. They get it done. Take Hornets money line. Book it. 4 units. Hornets money line.
Wow, I like it. I think this Hornets team, they're more mature. They're going to come out of All-Star break rested and still focused on winning. They're not going to be like, oh, let's go to Cabo and, mess around on the beach and not care about basketball because the season's over. There's some veterans there. I like it.
I've been to 4 straight Hornets Jazz games. It's been a disaster every single time. They were close one year, then Georges Niang had like 31 and didn't miss a three-pointer. So I don't think they've even been within single digits of any game they've played in the last 4 years. And obviously, I don't think they've won since 05 or 04. But this Thursday, Hornets are getting it done over the Jazz, and I got my tickets, and I'm going to the game courtesy of SeatGeek. So let's go. Let's go.
Be on the lookout for Karter on the Charlotte Hornets social media pages. Seems to be a favorite whenever they visit Utah.
I might avoid that one this year. We
got to get the better angle in the seat. You're going to stand up and be like, wait 1 second before you take this picture.
No, because I'll be wearing Bobcats gear. I'm wearing Bobcats gear on Thursday.
Oh, they're not going to promote. They're not going to promote that. Yeah, never mind. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm changing it up this year. Thursday, I'm going to be wearing Bobcats gear to the game. Something's got to change. I've worn Hornets gear 4 years in a row. Let's change it up. Let's wear some Bobcat stuff. I need to find. I have the authentic Bobcat shorts. I need to find those. I'll wear the whole outfit. Screw it.
I can maybe dig up a little Emeka Okafor rookie jersey from my attic back at home.
Yeah,
ship it out there.
Like one you would get at like the Scholastic Book Fair. That's Emeka Okafor poster. Have that. Yeah. Everybody has a youth medium Emeka Okafor, orange Emeka Okafor jersey in their house in North Carolina.
Is orange. Oh, that's great. Youth medium. Yeah, the Scholastic Book Fair, they have those posters up, and it's like, oh, where's the Charlotte one? It's like, oh, Emeka Okafor. It's like, no, it's not LeBron.
You know the drill. Let's set a timer. Hornets Minute. Starting now.
Number one thing, Hornets basketball is watchable again. That is the bottom line. I don't dread tuning into games anymore. I'm more excited where it's like, oh my gosh, we have a legitimate bench. We have legitimite guards that know how to distribute the ball and, not just turn it over or throw it away or take a bad shot. No more JT Thor minutes. No more Bryce McGowan's minutes. Book Knight's gone. Ish Smith, who I love, is gone. Natilas Kina is gone. We're good. It's watchable again. And this season's already a loss. They're not going to make the play-in tournament. But I don't dread turning the game on anymore. Huge win.
It's a lot of fun. That's what I was going to say. It's just a lot of fun watching them. I love Micic. I love Grant Williams, Seth Curry. It's a good time. It's a fun time watching their games now. And the last thing I had on this, this is a great lesson on why NBA teams, if they play team basketball, they can beat anybody on any given night. The NBA is all about just managing egos and trying to get guys to buy in because they are so incentivized to play for themselves.
The talent's there. The talent will be the problem.
Everybody's so ridiculously talented. Go to your local G League game, you'll sit front row, and you're like, oh my gosh, dude, how are these guys not playing in the NBA? They're ridiculously good.
Yeah, completely agree. And maybe, last point on this, maybe it's not Steve Clifford's fault. I'm willing to say that. We can start the conversation.
Who knows? Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it was other players' faults. Who knows? But
perhaps.
All right. That's it. Make sure to tune in to the college basketball show on Thursday. It'll be coming out. And schedule going forward, NBA Pod will be coming out Monday morning, Sunday nights, and college basketball will be out every Thursday morning. Tune into that. Follow us on Twitter or X at Connor_Sparrow, at CarterBA, at CarterCast on all social media. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow on Spotify. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Rate, review the podcast. And CarterCast.com should be up very, 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 very soon in time for March Madness. And subscribe to the pod, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye.